Hey everybody, Brendan here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to continue on with our semi-slav speedrun. We are playing against knight to f3 on move 2, so we just play knight to f6. And again, yeah, when they don't challenge you, just a good way to play these positions is just playing some sort of London system. I feel like this is just kind of difficult to play against. We have to be a little bit careful in these lines though. There's always a little bit of venom. One thing to not really do um, is to play a move like a6 or a3. Mainly because you do create some weaknesses on the queen side. This is something that I've done many times before, and sometimes it just feels right to play it whenever you see moves like knight b5, but generally just, yeah, don't play it. We're just gonna play bishop to b8. We're ready to castle. If they try to attack this pawn at any point, we have queen d7 or queen e7. Yeah, so now it's time to just castle, and we're actually going to look to play our knight over to c4, because why not? We could do this in a couple ways, though. We could bring this knight over via d7, or we can play something a bit more active, like knight to e4. I think I think I'll play it with knight to d7. They'll probably play knight to d2. And I'm looking to slowly unravel because sure, like this bishop is fine here and everything is fine, but I don't want to stick um, in this position too long where I'm giving up the c file, right? Because the c file is generally where most of the play comes from in these types of openings. And yeah, I feel like this is just a mistake. This has to be one. The reason why is because now, after we take it, they don't really have a strong hold over the c5 square, and I feel like the c file just matters less because of that. So yeah, we'll take. And maybe even just knight c4 here. Looks like this pawn just falls. Oh wait, did I miss something with rook c4? I may have just missed rook c4. Well, that was extremely lucky. I'm pretty sure they could have played rook c4 there because the rook in the corner is trapped. So that's extremely lucky on my part. Now I'm just going to take this and count my blessings because that was just extremely lucky. Wow. Okay. This doesn't feel like anything problematic. I think we could just take with the bishop. Yeah, and then we just take with the pawn. We're threatening knight f3 check right now, and queen takes d4, so we're in a good spot. Actually, queen takes d4, there's knight takes d4, so that was a lie. But still, I think yeah, we've solved pretty much every single problem there was. Um, yeah, I think we should trade queens as well. And go like rook e8. Still, I want to be a little bit careful because I don't know, things feel a little strange. You might notice that there's like knight fork distance potential going on here. Doesn't seem like there's anything quite yet, but that's sometimes when things actually happen, right? Okay, so they're regaining this pawn. I don't think I could have avoided that though. Uh, which pawn's more valuable, this one or this one? So what if I just play like rook e8 and then just offer this pawn? I feel like I shouldn't do that. Just rook e7 is better. Yeah, I feel like I gotta keep this one. They take. Let's try this. F5. Knight c5, then there's b6. Start going for that activity. Knight to d3. We could end up taking that and then playing moves like e5 actually. I really like that. And feels like we can actually press a serious advantage there. A7 is kind of the only weakness I see, and that's pretty well defended. Let's play rook to c8. This is kind of a trick, but you know, sometimes tricks work, right? And there we go. There was the trick, is seeing if I could get knight f3 check. After this, now we just have to kind of just play against their rook and their knight. We're up a pawn and an exchange, which is definitely more than enough to win. So the way we win this is e4, and then something like rook c2 if we can get it. If they go here, then maybe rook c7. There's also rook e5. So knight c6, I take on b5. Oh, I should be careful there. I should be careful there as well. Well, I'm seeing myself getting forked quite a bit here. So let's just prevent any forks. This is actually, if you put rooks diagonally from each other in this form, it's really hard to get forked from it. So um, that's good for us. And then I'll just play this move rook e6. And this is actually kind of just preparing to simplify. So if they ever play knight c6, I'm just going to take it. I don't see a reason not to. We're up 2 pawns in a rook ending. This is completely winning. It'd be pretty hard to mess this up. Of course, there is ways to. Um, we're going to try our best not to do that. So let's play rook to c2 and then rook to b2. This is just preparing a5, maybe even b5. And should we bring our king in? Feels like we should. There's also rook c5. But I'm going to keep my rook where it is. Keeping it on the second rank looks quite active and strong. b5. And we'll go a6 as well. So now we have another target. Of course, we have a target ourselves on a6, but it feels more realistic for us to get their pawn than it is for them to get ours. They could go for h5, but the second they do, I can kind of like switch lanes and just kind of head for the pawn. And yeah, I think now I can just play this move with little conscience. f3, I can just meet with king e5. And meet this move with king to d4. Yeah. This is beginning to show why having just 2 pawns is already is too much. Now it's 3 and activity. It's usually because you can trade some of those things for activity, and that is partly what I did. King f3 just threatens mate in 1. And yeah, let's just give a check and start pushing this pawn, yeah? Good game. So, as a short recap in this game, there was some pretty decent play by us overall. Positionally, it felt like we definitely got the advantage, mainly because, well, we were able to get their pawn to e5, and eventually it did fall, but it fell under faulty means. And that comes from the move 15, knight to c4, which I did talk about during the game, because you can actually just take that piece. So after knight c4, rook takes on c4 is a huge problem. Now after d takes c4, queen takes d8, rook takes d8, and bishop takes on b7. The rook in the corner is actually hanging. This is something I missed in the game, which is very unfortunate. But if I didn't, then I should not be playing knight c4. I should just play something like queen to d7, and the game will continue with a favorable game for black. That's mainly it for the tactical stuff, but just as another refresher, whenever you're playing in these semi-Slav positions, specifically exchange Slavs where it's c-pawn for c-pawn and you don't really get to create an imbalance, it's going to rely a lot on the power of who controls the C file and especially who controls weak squares on the C file. So in this game, when they play moves like A3 early on, which they did, then all of a sudden C4 is just a little bit weaker because it's harder to play B3 without creating more weaknesses for example, like the A3 pawn. And yeah, when they play B4, they're completely giving up the C4 square. Of course, that did backfire for us trying to exploit it in the way we did. But overall, besides that, just remember, yeah, the c4 and the c5 squares are particularly weak, mainly because it's a d4 d5 opening, and pieces could be protected by pawns on those squares. So be very careful about pushing your b or your a pawns on that side of the board. Try to be a bit more cagey when you're playing. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, enjoyed the analysis, and I'll see you next time.